My father never talked much about the Catskills house after that first visit, and my mother still refuses to speak about the villa in Greece. But growing up, I heard fragments, stories of glowing eyes in attics, of dead cats wrapped like offerings, of symbols burned into old wood. At first, I thought these were just disconnected family legends. Eerie, yes, but separate. That was before I found the map. A torn page buried deep in my father's things, marked with a single word. Passage. It wasn't labeled like any town or trail, and when I searched for it online, nothing came up. But I couldn't look away, because somehow I recognized it. Not from memory, but from dreams. My dad never liked talking about the Catskills house after that first trip. He bought it for my grandparents, his idea of keeping the family close. But something about that place hollowed him. I remember how gaunt he looked when he came back, like the mountains had drained something out of him. It's just an old house, he kept saying. Drafty, quiet, that's all. But one night, after a few drinks, he slipped. There's something watching up there, he muttered, staring into the TV but not really seeing it. In the attic, behind the walls. You ever see a cat's eyes in pitch black? That shine. That's what I saw, but there's no cat. He told me about the holy water, the salt lines, how he had to sleep with the lights on, just to feel human. And the barn. God, the barn. He said he found 2 stone gargoyles tucked into the far corner, almost hidden behind broken planks and rusted tools. Beneath them, drawn in chalk and oil, was a symbol, 3 circles overlapping, bound by thorns. A witch's circle, he said, or something worse. He destroyed them, smashed the gargoyles, burned the circle, then doused it all in holy water like gasoline. He claimed everything stopped after that. The watching, the whispering, the dreams. But the way he looked at me when he said it, I didn't believe him, because his eyes still glowed a little when the room got dark. My mother's story was eerily similar. Different country, same dread. She and her first husband had stayed in a villa in rural Greece, a beautiful old place tucked into the cliffs overlooking the sea. But nights were strange. Doors opening on their own, heavy footsteps in the hall, things disappearing only to reappear in grotesque positions, knives in pillows, a dead bird in the fireplace. The worst was what she found on the rooftop. A dead cat, wrapped in white cloth, laid in a perfect circle of olive branches. No blood, no decay, just stillness. After they flew back to the States, her children, my half-siblings, started waking up screaming. One of them drew that same thorn symbol in crayon, unprompted. She swears she never told them about it. She eventually brought in a priest. I never knew what he did, only that afterward the house felt lighter and the dream stopped. But she never went back to Greece. I used to think these were just scary family stories, creepy anecdotes told over wine and sleepless nights. But then, 3 weeks ago, while cleaning out a drawer in Dad's garage, I found the map. It was folded inside a Bible with the cover torn off. Just a single page, yellowed and brittle, marked with a red wax seal that had long since crumbled. The area it displayed didn't look like any place I recognized. Twisting roads, jagged hills, rivers flowing in impossible angles. At the bottom, handwritten in looping ink, the passage. I typed the name into Google. Nothing. Not a location. Not a landmark. Not even a local legend. I tried reverse image searches, map overlays, every resource I could think of. It didn't exist. And yet, Something inside me knew it did. That night, I dreamed of the attic. Not ours, not Greece's, just an attic. Narrow, dusty, its corners full of breath. I heard my father's voice from the shadows. It stayed behind the salt, but only because it wanted to. I woke up with blood in my mouth. Not much, just enough to taste iron and question everything. I told myself to let it go, but I didn't. The urge to find the passage grew like a sickness. I traced the landmarks on the map, tried to match them with terrain across both continents. I spent nights with Google Earth open, blinking through grid coordinates, hoping something would click. And then, finally, I found it. A stretch of woods outside the Catskills, near an old access road that had long since eroded into little more than a deer trail. Satellite view showed no structures, no signs of life, but nestled between two ridges was something. Blank, a smear, like someone had airbrushed over it. I packed a bag and started my journey. The trail started off like any other. Damp leaves, snapping twigs, birds overhead that refused to sing. As I moved deeper, my GPS began to stutter. At first, I blamed the tree cover, but soon it stopped working entirely. My compass spun in lazy circles. No signal, no direction. Then came the humming. It started as a low vibration in my chest, like the feeling you get in your bones near high voltage wires. Except there were no wires, no buzzing, just that sensation of something tuning in. The trees grew strange, thinner, ashen. Their bark felt like skin. When I brushed against one, it flinched. That was when I first saw it. An old stone arch, maybe 6 feet high, almost entirely consumed by moss. Beneath it, a sunken path paved in slate. Faint carvings lined the base of the arch. Those same overlapping circles, like the ones Dad burned in the barn. I wanted to turn back, but I stepped through. It was like being unzipped from the world. On the other side, everything felt warped. The air hung heavy, like syrup. My thoughts echoed. My breath fogged in front of me despite the summer heat. The path twisted through trees that no longer looked alive. Their limbs drooped like wet cloth. Their shadows moved against the wind. I began to hear footsteps, not mine. Always two behind me, always pausing when I turned. At one point, I found a barn. Not a barn, the barn. The same as my dad's. Same red paint, peeled and grey. Same rusted roof, even the same slant in the doors. Except I wasn't in the Catskills anymore. I wasn't anywhere. Inside the barn, the air reeked of charred flesh and mould. 2 gargoyles stood near the far wall, untouched, staring with empty sockets. And on the floor, etched deep into the wood, was the circle. Still intact, still waiting. I should have run. I know that now. Instead, I walked to the center of the circle. It felt like stepping into a memory I never had. The moment my boot crossed the line, the temperature dropped. The air screamed, not out loud, but inside my skull. And then I was elsewhere. I stood on the rooftop in Greece, the same rooftop my mother described. The same cat, wrapped in white, staring up at me with glassy, bloated eyes. Except this time, it blinked. I turned around. The villa crumbled into dust. And then I was in the attic. Not a specific attic, just an attic again. But this time, the eyes were there, gleaming, watching. And behind them, something stirred. Too large to belong to one creature. Too slow to be wind. It moved with intention. It whispered. I couldn't understand the words, but the meaning sank into me like ice. You brought me through. I woke in my car, parked on the side of a highway I didn't recognize. My phone showed the time as 2:22 a.m. Battery at 13%. GPS signal, none. In the back seat was the Bible, the map gone, just a page torn out, soaked in something dark with one word scribbled on it. Return. I never told my dad. He wouldn't have believed me, but I think he knows. Because sometimes, when I pass a mirror at night, I see the reflection of a barn behind me, and in the corner of the ceiling, if I look quickly, 2 shining eyes blink. I don't know where I am now. Not exactly. The road I took doesn't show up on GPS anymore, and the sun hasn't risen in what feels like days. My phone flickers occasionally, showing flashes of that map, except now the word passage is gone, replaced by my name. And sometimes, when I close my eyes, I see the barn again. I see the cat-wrap cloth. I hear the knock at the attic door. Maybe this place isn't a passage at all. Maybe it's a mirror. And so, the shadows stretch further, and the mystery only deepens. But this is far from the end. It's merely the beginning. What lingers beyond the door? Who is whispering your name? And what is that shifting in the corner of your eye? The answers await in the next chapter of these chilling tales. Subscribe to Nightfall Crypt and hit the notification bell, because the Crypt's secrets are endless and the darkness never sleeps. Until next time, stay in the light if you can.